All right, we heard this song and dance before, so let's sing and dance again with Jeremy Fowler, linking the Cowboys with Joe Milton III. Now, he's 6'5", 235 pounds, and he got a live arm. He can sling the ball all over the field, and I'm quite sure that when you look at his overall skill set, he can run the wildcat, he can run the RPO, read zone options, he can do all of those things. And can he do it accurately? That is the issue with him, right? He don't throw with anticipation. He telegraph his throws. And when you think about it, yes, he's 6'5". He can see over the pocket in these sorts. But he need time to develop. So at the age of 25, right, you still have to say to yourself, is this something that you want to entertain? Because he was drafted, I think, in the 5th or the 6th round by the Patriots. And when the Patriots got a new regime going on, right, then normally what happened with this is they look at the roster, they evaluate it, and they say, this is what I can work with, this is what I can't work with. Let's get rid of the things that I can't work with or take too long to work with, and let's see if we can get something back in return. And speaking of that, when agents are looking to shop their players, the first thing they do is say, hey, let's call the Cowboys. Even if Jerry or Stephens Jones, or however you want to call him, John Stephen Jones, pick up the phone and they see what is being said, they hang up, and still the agent said, hey, the Cowboys said a maybe. So now that they are interested in this particular guy. Now, granted, I'm not taking a dump on Joe Milton. I think that he was in a terrible situation. And the Patriots, they had to do what they had to do. You know, they had to do what they had to do. And they did just that. And when you think of it, everything, you can say, okay, coming out of college, maybe, just maybe, people were okay with it. You know,
Patriots select Joe Milton, quarterback, Tennessee.
Oh,
Tennessee. See?
Get your bazooka ready.
Bazooka.
I love this. This reminds me so much of what Kyle Shanahan did when they drafted RG3 and then Kirk Cousins later in that draft. My goodness.
Saw with my own eyes Joe Milton throw the ball right hash, -25, all the way to the back left corner of the opposite end zone.
Yeah.
That's 83 yards in the air, if my math serves correctly.
That's a
there,
good job.
Cynthia Freeland. Not even accounting the right to left distance
No,
as well.
that's just the straight yards.
Without question, the biggest arm in this draft. Now, I don't know how much opportunity he's going to have here with Drake May being the 3rd overall pick, but what do you think?
I love the strategy of doubling down at a position of.
No doubt, no doubt. So if they are willing to move on from him, and you know that he got a live arm, and you know what he's capable of, etc., and the only way that I would entertain a trade, maybe a 7th round, 6th round, 5th round, no. We got a lot of needs. Unless it's like a swap type of situation, right? But now you're looking at it, the Patriots still draft ahead of us in all of these draft picks outside of the 5th. So maybe you can work something out and say, okay, I will swap you with one, or I trade you with one, or we will do this and move that around. But the draft is the bloodline for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, God dog it, I'm telling y'all, Joe got a strong arm. I mean, the dude can sit Indian style and throw that ball 60 yards down the field, which is good. Bring him into camp. You look at the prototype. He can run. He can wiggle, get out in space. He can be that inserted piece in red zone. But we just came from a similar situation like that with Trey Lance. And matter of fact, Trey Lance is still younger than Joe Milton, the 3rd. So you got to weigh out your options on what you would like to do at quarterback. Now, I'm saying that the Cowboys got so many holes in different areas of this team. We got holes. We got holes on different areas, and we can't be playing around with developing situations. And when we paying the quarterback $250 million, that's a lot of coins. If you get what I'm saying. So if we're going to do that, make a window, make sure that you do everything and anything possible that you can win now. The developing side of it is for the birds, right? Come on with it. And I ain't talking about the Eagles, nor the Falcons, or any Raven, but what I'm getting at, or Seahawk, by the way, I'm getting at is the Cowboys got to stay focused. Now, if it's a real deal, like a low-end draft pick and some movement, if it's like some subpar players that you have on your roster and you want to take a shot at Joe Milton so that when you go into the draft, you don't have to reach for a quarterback in the second or third round too early. Because, man, who's better at this point? Quinn Ewers or Joe Milton? Would you rather have a Joe Milton or Quinn Ewers, right? Those are the things you have to ask yourself, right? But the Cowboys will forever be linked to players that's out there on the open market or trade scenarios. Now, granted, boy, if y'all pay attention to PFF grades, though, woo! That one game he did had 95.8 overall. That ain't bad, if you go by grades. And we don't do grades over here. We look at the tangible things. He had 241 yards, 1 touchdown, and he passed with all colors over here. 95 overall, 94.9 passing. He could be something. Who knows, right? He could be like, Dante Culpepper, but a little bit better, I don't know. But when you look at everything, hey, that one game he did had, it's all that matter, showcasing your best talent in your best game and see if you can framework that around. Cowboy Nation, post me your thoughts. Post me your concerns about this particular individual. Would you take a flyer at him, or would you go get Jalen Milroe from Roll Tide? Would you do that, right? Would you do a draft situation this season, Jackson Dart or one of those boys that's in the draft, right? Would you sacrifice one of those picks, huh? Would you do that? Because it's all sacrifice. That's all it is. Or you go into this situation and say, okay, we good. We don't have to stretch it out that far. We can just make sure that when we get into the draft, we can draft one. Or we can just make a trade acquisition for a Joe Milton and put him behind Dak Prescott, and maybe 3-4 years from here, when he get a shot at it or he gets into a game, we be like, man, that arm, he can get the ball there. Shoot. I've seen crazier things happen. Post me your thoughts. Post me your concerns down below. That's all of my thoughts on Joe Milton. Should the Cowboys go take a real good look at him? The answer to that, from my opinion, is at least see what they trying to get in return, right? There's nothing wrong with that. They might say, well, we just want dog water for him. Yeah, that's what I would do. 7th round draft pick, maybe a 6, and that's about it. Not both of them, but just one. DC for life, not for short. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the Bass. Go Cowboys. Peace.